Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about the Eternals. But this time we are going to talk with spoilers. So if you haven't seen the Eternals yet, click away and come back after you've seen the Eternals, because I'm going to dive into spoilers. I did make a spoiler-free review, so if you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and check that one out first. I'll give you 3 more seconds to click away. Now let's start to talk about some spoilers. So this movie definitely felt weird, and it was also like super long, so I'm not gonna be able to talk about everything that I probably would want to. But like, let's start off with the beginning, because it is one of the weirdest beginnings I think in the MCU movie. Because how does it begin? With words, like written words. Like, this is the first time the MCU movie has started with words. Like it's a whole text that scrolls up and you have to read it. And I remember I was just like, wait, what? Is this the movie? But then I saw Eternals and Deviants, so I was like, okay, I guess this is the movie. We're not in the wrong theater. And I just thought that was weird. But seeing all those shots of the Celestials, which were scattered throughout the movie, they looked incredible. Some of those shots were awesome. And I think that was some of the best parts about the movie, was just those shots alone. And I feel like the characters were pretty cool. Like, I enjoyed the characters, even though they definitely needed more time to develop. Like, I don't remember all their names, but like, who's the guy? I'm trying to remember his name. Well, the one who was good with Tech, the one who made like Tech, like, he had this whole story arc that could have been a cool story arc where he like goes from hating humans to thinking humans are alright. Like, he hates humans, they're not worth the protecting. Then it goes to having a human family. How the heck does that work? Because it like started, they're like, all right, let's go find him. All right, well, they're like, let's go find him, and then it flashes back to him being like, oh, I hate these humans. Humans are not worth protecting. Then we flash it forward, and he has a family. Like, it goes straight right into each other. That's one of the worst parts about the movie, I think. They didn't have enough time to develop any of the characters like they should have. And that was one of the examples, which is a shame because the characters were so much fun. I especially enjoyed Makari, Kingo. I think I'm saying their names right. I'm telling you. And I loved Kingo's assistant. He was hilarious. He's his Alfred, which is another thing they do in this movie. They reference DC. I'll talk about that in a little bit first. But like, they made me care about that character, which was kind of surprising, because like, when they first introduced him in the movie, because I didn't watch any like the TV spots. I only saw the 2 trailers, and I don't remember him being in any of those 2 trailers. So when he showed up, I was like, oh, okay, so he's a side character who's probably gonna disappear after Kingo goes on this mission, and then he comes with him. So I was like, okay, how are they gonna do this? They're probably just gonna push him to the side, right? And they never push him to the side. He's practically a main character, and he was just so much fun and so funny that they made me really enjoy his character, and he became one of my favorites. And yeah, all the other characters were pretty good too. I feel like they definitely needed more time, especially with all these characters, because one of the biggest problems about the movie, with so many characters, with like so little screen time, is that like 2 characters died in this movie, and I didn't feel any emotions like I should have. Ajax dies at the very beginning of the movie, and instead of being like, oh my gosh, how could they do this? Why would they? Oh, so many emotions. I was just like, okay, who's that again? Who's Ajax? And then later on they explained it. I was like, oh, Ajax the leader, I think. So I shouldn't have been like that. I should have been emotional, but it wasn't. And then later on they killed Gilgamesh, which, even though I actually knew who he was, I still didn't feel any emotions because I didn't have enough time to get attached to the character. I got like maybe an hour and a half to get attached to the character. So why are these guys walking so weird? Is that just me? They're like marching. Anyway, sorry. Like, I just thought that was, you know, yeah. But besides that, it wasn't the worst. But one thing they did do in this movie that I was not a fan of is they kind of made it feel like Infinitey and Endgame weren't that big a deal. compared to what this movie introduces, which I'm not a fan of when they do that. I'm not a fan of when they like make it where it's like, look at this movie, it's a big deal, and then the next movie it's just like, yeah, that wasn't really a big deal. I wasn't a fan of that, but you know, I can't do anything about that. And like I said in my spoiler-free review, the flashbacks are confusing to me. Like they were really messing me up with the story. I feel like they could have done that in a better way. The first flashback, I feel like worked out in a cool way, because the way that one worked out is the movie started, it showed us this flashback with them coming to Earth, I believe for the first time. And they're fighting off these deviants on this like beach, and then Cersei, I think her name is, she's the one who can change the material or whatever by touching it. She picks up this like dagger or whatever, she changes it to be like a different material, I forget exactly what it was, and then she hands it to this boy, and then it flashes to the present day where you see an ad for it saying that it's an artifact in a museum. I thought that played out pretty cool, but then after that it was kind of confusing, because they would just like the one flashback, they flashed this one battle, and I didn't even know it was a flashback at first, because they like flashed to it without saying anything, and I was like, wait, what the heck? Why are oh, it must be a flashback. And then after the fight scene was over, that's when it showed that it was a flashback, saying that it took place at this time. I forget the exact dates that they gave, but I felt that was weird, and they kept doing that throughout the whole movie, which, I don't know, I feel like they could have done a way better job with that, because, I don't know, I just feel like they didn't do the greatest job with that. But now, we're getting close to the end of the movie, and the finale, I think, was pretty decent. It wasn't bad. Like, I enjoyed it. I mean, I feel like because they had like a deviant in it, the evolved deviant, I mean, even though that was a really cool idea with what they were trying to do with it, it was kind of pointless. Like, he didn't really need to be in the final battle. In fact, they probably could have just saved him for the sequel. So, but whatever. And also, I feel like, Icaris, let's talk about him real fast, because at the end of the movie, we find out that he betrayed the team, which I actually didn't see coming right away. Like, I was like, wait, he killed Ajax? What? Wait, that makes sense. I thought it kind of was when it turned out he was kind of like the villain of the movie. But and then they also like showed that Sprite, because she was in love with him, she also betrayed the team and went with him. But I feel like they didn't do Icaris's story as good as they should have. I think it was a cool idea to be like, oh, he loves his family. He'd do anything for his family, but he thinks that his mission is more important, and he has to get it done, and that's what makes him the villain of the story. But they end his character arc so dumb, I feel. Like, oh, his name's Icaris, so let's have him fly into the sun because his name's Icaris. Like that, they had no idea what to do with the character since he didn't die in the final battle, so they're like, well, we have to find a way to kill this guy off. Well, his name's Icaris, why don't we just have him fly into the sun? Oh, okay. That's what I felt like they did, because I felt so dumb and pointless. Like, if it felt like it, I don't know how to explain this. If it felt like it made sense, like maybe if he got more time or whatever, or if he like did something he like really regretted, like maybe he almost killed Cersei, then I'd be a little more like, okay, that makes sense. But still, I feel like it felt like it came out of nowhere. Like, I understand, like, oh, he lost and he almost killed his family, so he's sad or whatever. But it felt like out of nowhere still, and I was not a fan of that. I feel like it was kind of dumb. What they should have done was just have him fly out into space and then return in the sequel, and then have him have like this story, like this cool fleshed out story in a sequel, and then kill him off in the sequel. Either by having him sacrifice himself, or by having the Eternals have to be like, alright, this guy's evil, we have to kill him. One of those two, depending on whether they want to redeem him or not. Also, guess what? He's evil Superman. Because, you know, that's never been done before, ever. But, you know, whatever. We'll just do evil Superman again. Also, speaking of how character arcs were not finished well in the finale, Sprite's character arc, I also felt was not done well in the finale. Because Sprite turns evil, which, okay, she liked Icaris, so she's going with him, okay. And then she stops Cersei, and she literally stabs her in the back. Like, she tries to kill her. And guess what they do? Guess what they do? They not only do they forgive her instantly for trying to murder her, but they also gave her exactly what she wanted. Because I didn't know that's how it worked. Okay, like that made no sense to me. Like this, and it was Cersei who gave it to her too. Like she just tried to kill you, and you're okay with doing this? Okay, whatever. I would have been more okay with it too if she didn't stab her. Like if she like made the illusions of the volcanoes and was like, sorry, I can't let you do this, and then what's his name, the guy who can mind control, knocked her unconscious, and then she was like, okay, I'll give this to you. That would have made more sense because she didn't try to murder her. But whatever. Yeah, okay. But yeah, also something that interested me a little bit was that they referenced DC twice in this movie. I talked about it a little bit before. Earlier in the movie, Kingo was explaining to Gilgamesh who his assistant was, and the guy's like, oh, like Alfred from Batman. And I just thought that was hilarious. One, I love DC, so it's kind of cool hearing them reference it. But two, this is the first time they're referencing DC, which yes, this probably just means that their comic books and movies are in the MCU, but also, I don't know, I feel like it was cool. I hope, what I want them to do is a Marvel versus DC movie, which will never happen, but you know, maybe one day. And they also referenced Superman, which was the very obvious reference, I feel, because, well, Icaris is practically evil Superman, like I said earlier. Laser eyes, flight, strength. The only thing he didn't do in the movie that Superman related was ice breath. So, you know, there's that. Oh, well, I guess technically he never used X-ray vision, but that's not one of the powers I don't think people think of right away when they think of Superman. And, I mean, what they should have done is also made a joke about Makari being Flash, right? Because they're both speedsters. So that was fun. And then, at the very end of the movie, they kind of tease Dane Whitman, because Dane Whitman is, in the comic books, it's the Black Knight. That's him right here. It's even the Dane Whitman version. And they somewhat tease his origin as Black Knight, because he's talking to Cersei and he's like, yeah, my family history is apparently more complicated than we thought. But he gets interrupted because the Celestial, whose name I forget, the one that made the Eternals, shows up in the sky, another cool visual like I said before, and takes all the Eternals who were on Earth away, which, I'm trying to remember, Kingo, Cersei, they didn't take Sprite yet, I guess because she's a human, and, I forgot all their names, but the ones who are on Earth, because, like, Makari, the guy who can mind control, and Thena went on the ship to look for Eternals, which, why, I have to ask though, why did he grab Kingo? Because something else they did in this movie that I thought was interesting was that Kingo, they kind of like showed different points of view of the story, where Kingo was like, oh, I think I agree with Icaris, we shouldn't be stopping this, but I'm not going to turn psycho and try to kill all of you over it, so bye. That's pretty much what they did with him. But for some reason, you know, he kidnapped Kingo as well, even though he didn't do anything, but you know, whatever. And it just ends there. Well, the main movie with subsequent credit scenes. But it just ends there. Which, if it gets a sequel, that's a cool idea. But if it doesn't get a sequel because it is the worst movie in the MCU, like critically or whatever, like it's not doing as well as other MCU movies, and I've heard that they might not even be able to make a sequel for this movie, then that will end up being kind of pointless, but oh well. But we do get our mid-credit scene, which shows Thena, Makari, and oh, what is his name? I can't remember his name. You guys can tell me in the comment section. I bet I'll remember their names once I stop recording. But the guy who can mind control are on the ship. Like, it's been weeks. Why haven't we heard from them? And then all of a sudden this portal comes up, and this what is he called? I forget what the creature is called, but it's like I forget what he's called. His name is Pip. I forget what he's considered. But Pip comes out, his comic book, he's like a troll type character. He comes out and he's introducing the person who's about to board, and that is Eros, aka I think Starfire. Is that his name? Starfox?
Tell me that big
Oh well, I'll look it up afterwards. But he shows up, and he is Thanos' brother, the brother of Thanos. You know, the one who snapped fingers, wiped out half the universe. You know, that Thanos. Which was kind of cool to see that they are introducing his brother, because in the comic books, Thanos is like part eternal with like a deviant gene or something like that. It's kind of confusing. I don't fully understand all that. I didn't get to read any Eternal comics, so you know, it's mostly new information for me for this movie. But he shows up and he's like, guess what? I know where your friends are, so I can help you. And I feel like that kind of sets up the sequel, where not only do we have Thanos' brother, which is cool, but he's also going to help them find their friends. Which I thought that was a cool, not bad end credit scene, but the second credit scene I feel was cooler. Because in the end credit scene, it shows Dane Whitman. First, he reads out this line that's carved onto this box that he's about to open, and death is my reward, I believe is what it says. He opens it up, he goes to touch the sword, and I don't know how to explain how the sword looked. The sword looked like weird, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. And then we hear this voice saying, are you sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman? And then it goes to black and says, the Eternals will return. This is what gets me excited, because I've heard that the voice that said that is Blade. And that is super cool in my opinion. Now I've heard some people say they thought it was the Watcher, but from what I've heard, it's not the Watcher, it's Blade. And I think that's awesome, because what it could be doing is it could be setting up a Midnight Suns movie. And that would be kind of cool. I mean, you can have Blade, you can have Black Knight, you could technically have Morbius, depending on where this whole multiverse thing is going, since Venom's now kind of in the MCU. And like, it would be kind of cool if we get this. I mean, Agatha could technically be part of it if you think about it, since she's like involved with dark magic. But I think that would be cool if they do this to set up Midnight Suns. Because I remember in the movie, I was kind of the most excited for Black Knight, because he was the one I knew the most about, and he got nothing. Like, very little screen time. He did nothing. So this end credit scene not only excited me because teasing that, but also excited me because Blade, possibly Midnight Suns, and that is super exciting to me. If they do that, though, that means there's like setting up 3 teams coming in the MCU. We have the Dark Avengers, or the Thunderbolts, which will have like Valentina, Yelena Belova, and John Walker. And we also have them teasing the Young Avengers with Kate Bishop, Wiccan and Speed, Elijah Bradley, and more to come. And now it looks like they might be teasing the Midnight Suns with Black Knight and Blade. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what's going on. And I've said this in my spoiler-free review. I don't think this is the best Marvel movie, but I don't think it's the worst either. Like, I like it more than Thor: The Dark World, but it's not the greatest Marvel movie. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch. What did you think of this movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was okay? What did you think of this movie? I want to hear all your thoughts. Do you think they are setting up a Midnight Suns movie, or do you think Marvel's not going to do that? And if you like this video, please hit like. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I've done a spoiler-free review of this movie. I've also reviewed Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Venom Let There Be Carnage, and hopefully more to come. So if you want to see that, please consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the notification button so you know when I'm posting live, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye.